Well, it's great to have Stanley Cup winning coach Craig Berube here. When I say that, Stanley Cup winning coach, does it resonate?
Oh, it does, yeah. I mean, it's a good feeling for sure. You know, as looking back on the whole, playoffs and everything, and just proud of our team and be able to accomplish it and get it done.
Do you remember where you were and what the phone call was like when Doug Armstrong said, "Craig, you're going to be our coach"?
I do. I mean, it was after a game, at home here, and we weren't, obviously playing very well. And he came in and talked to me, and we talked about it a little bit after the game. And he said, think about things, overnight and all that. And it's a tough day, to be honest with you. When you lose a coach like Mike Yeo is a good friend and good coach, and things don't go well and they make changes. It's not easy, but it all worked out well.
It did work out well. What's the first thing you did when you addressed the team?
I just talked about, we're underachieving, basically, and how we're going to get better. And this is what a couple of things that we got to do. We're not going to change everything, but we have to start at some point and change a few things and get better. And that's kind of how I approach a team at that point. Like I just addressed a couple issues.
One of the things that I thought you did that was so apparent is you moved Alexander Steen from one of the top six forwards to your bottom six forwards. And he seemed to thrive in that situation. How did you have that discussion? Because that's not an easy one to have.
Yeah, I don't know I can't remember the exact date. It was at home here though, and I went up to Steener and I said, listen, our fourth line has no identity, and it needs one because it's an important part of the team, of our team anyhow. We needed a good fourth line. And I just discussed that with him about, going down there and playing with Barbashev and Sundqvist and just giving it an identity. And he was all fine with it. He's a real team guy. Yeah. And, I think, too, he also bought into it. I play my fourth line a lot. They get a lot of ice time. They're used in big roles and big situations. So he thrived on that for sure.
Is part of that because of what you were as a player, that you want to play your fourth line more?
Well, I feel it's important. I feel like, in today's game, I feel everybody has to be used. It's such a fast game and a hard game, and I feel like everybody needs to be part of it, and I feel like you play a better team game when you use everybody, and that's part of our process here.
What a lot of fans don't know, they remember how tough you were in all the fights, but you were an undrafted player coming into the NHL. You played 17 years, over 1,000 games. Who found you?
Well, actually, Bobby Clarke did. I was in Medicine Hat and playing for a guy named Doug Sauter, and Russ Farwell was a GM, and they knew Bobby Clarke and the Flyers organization. And, they talked to them about me, and Clarke came down and watched me and a couple of their scouts, and so they called me up and wanted to give me a contract. It was actually during the year that I was still playing. They offered me a contract, and I said, sure.
I know he's a good friend of yours, Craig. I spoke to Rick Tocchet last week. He was on our podcast last week, and he was great. He was unbelievable. Can you talk about your friendship with Rick and how it evolved?
Yeah, well, when I came in the league and, 86, 87 with the Flyers, we ended up living together. And he took me under his wing, basically.
Which is hard to believe.
Yeah, but he was already a two-year pro at the time and a successful player. And so he was great for me, took care of me. I just learned a lot from being around him and how to play the game. And, just over time, we played together on a couple different teams. And we really communicate with each other with the coaching part of it. I call him all the time, or he calls me about things and situations and what would you do here. And, we're in touch, weekly almost.
Who's the coach that you played for? You say, I want to be like him.
Yeah, I don't know if there was one coach I really wanted to be like. I always think it's important just to be yourself and, how your personality comes out. But I really liked the way, Ken Hitchcock did things. I was around Hitch a lot over my whole career, even in junior, and just how he did things. And the other coach that I only had a short time with him was Daryl Sutter in Calgary. And I was an older player then, basically done, but I was still playing. But I learned a lot from him, just being around him and how he did things. You
were in a big trade. Dougie Gilmour leaves Calgary, goes to Toronto. What was that whole deal like?
I was upset. I mean, I was in Toronto. I was loving life. I was, becoming a better player. I was playing on a line with Krushelnyski and Mike Foligno. I remember we were a good line, and I was like starting to feel good about playing the game a little bit more than just what my role was before. And then all of a sudden I get into this trade and go to Calgary. It was upsetting at the time, but it all works. Things just go. That's the way it is. And I went to Calgary. We had a good team, and I was fortunate enough to play with some real good players there.
I knew you were really proud of your time with the Philadelphia Flyers as a player and as a coach. But a lot of players in those days anyways, they'd start in Philadelphia and they'd end in Washington. Mm-hmm. But that's still a big rivalry. What was it like to go from Philly, you end up in Washington, and come back and play in Philly as a member of the Washington Capitals?
It is a big, so when I started in 86, 87 with the Flyers, our biggest rival, in my opinion, was the Washington Capitals. Our toughest games were against them, I thought. And, Scott Stevens, Hatcher, Dale Hunter, I could go down a line of guys, Cicerelli, Jeff Courtnall. I can remember all this, tough games. And then when I got traded there, I honestly don't think Dale Hunter and I talked for the first year. Then we became great friends. Right. But we don't think we liked each other very much, just from all the battles over the years with each other. It was tough hockey, but that's the way it is. And so it was kind of interesting going there the first time. One
of your buddies is Keith Jones. How did that relationship foster itself?
Well, in Wash we played together, and then we played together in Philadelphia too. So he's a great guy, and he again, he was just one of those guys that I got to be good friends with, and obviously still am, and talk to him quite a bit. Great guy.
Do you see yourself as a role model, especially for the Native American?
Well, as much as I can be. I think I got Native background, and I grew up with playing hockey and ball with natives out where I live in Alberta, and it's important to me.
What was it like going back with the Stanley Cup to Alberta?
That was a great day. To be honest with you, I was kind of blown away, at how many people showed up to see the Cup in the arena and things like that. And then just seeing my father and my uncles and all the people around there that love hockey, great supporters of me over my career and coaching career, and just to be able to, spend that day with them and having a party and all that was pretty special.
You made a living being physical. You weren't an easy guy to play against. Is there still room for players like you in the National Hockey League, Craig?
You got to be able to play, though. You got to be a good player, and you still can play a physical brand of hockey. Obviously, there's rules and things you got to, obviously be aware of, but there's still room to be a physical player out there, and if you have to get involved once in a while, but you got to be able to play the game and skate. It's a skating game now. We all know that. If you can't skate, it's hard to play.
Jordan Binnington, when did you know?
I'm not sure. I think I think that even at the start of the playoffs, you weren't sure, because it's something new. It's a different element going into the playoffs. But, after that first round, I said, man, we got a chance here, because he's sharp and he played great. But he's done a great job and is continuing to do a great job.
It's never easy for coaches to have to deal with players that are in contract years. Everybody knows that. You're dealing with one right now, Alex Pietrangelo, who's obviously a critically important player for your team. How do you massage that message to the player in the room as a coach?
I constantly talk to him about him and his feelings and what's going on, just to make sure I'm checking in with him. But he's handled it pretty well, and he's kind of not focused on it, to be honest with you. He's just worried about his play and the team's play and how we're doing, which is great on him. But I just check in with him, on a daily basis, I guess, about things, if things are bothering him and what he's feeling with the contract maybe, or just with the team and things like that. So it's just about conversation.
What surprised you the most about Ryan O'Reilly?
Just how smart he is, I guess, and how good he is with his stick. It's amazing. His stick play may be the best in the league that I've seen. Stripping people from pucks and handling pucks and knocking pucks down, and just the little things he does. He's a real excellent player, but his intelligence is off the charts out there.
There's a good chance you won't have another excellent player in your lineup. Vladdy Tarasenko's shoulder surgery, going to be reevaluated in 5 months. That creates some different possibilities for you. Who do you see stepping up and being able to fill that void? Or do you have to do it by committee?
By committee, and I've said that over time here. And, we've put different players into that position. They played there for a few games, and we put in somebody else. And that's what it's going to be. I don't believe anybody can just go and fill Tarasenko's shoes. And it's going to be by committee. We need every guy on our team to contribute. That's the way I look at it.
I've been around this league almost as long as you have, and I've never seen so many coaches celebrate another coach winning as when you won. They were so happy for you. No, they really were, Craig, around the league. I can tell you that because I talked to all of them. So I want you to complete the sentence for me, and then I'm going to let you go to work. The St. Louis Blues will win the Stanley Cup again this year if
we continue to put the team first, and I'm going to say it again, that's a big thing, and put the team first and play for the team out there on a nightly basis, and we need contributions from everybody.